Why you're taller in the morning, a sleepy science story. The night wraps around you like a soft blanket as you settle into bed. Your muscles relax, your breathing slows, and somewhere deep inside your body, a quiet miracle is about to happen. As you drift towards sleep, your spine begins to stretch, not much, just a little, but enough that when you wake, you'll stand slightly taller than you did when you closed your eyes. This isn't magic, though it feels magical. This is science, the beautiful, hidden science of your sleeping body. Imagine floating in space, where nothing pulls you down. No weight on your shoulders, no pressure on your feet. Your spine, free from gravity's constant tug, would stretch to its full length like a plant reaching for sunlight. Now picture yourself in bed. While you won't float like an astronaut, your body experiences a miniature version of this freedom every night. The secret lies in the spaces between your bones, in tiny cushions filled with fluid that act like nature's shock absorbers. During the day, gravity compresses them like a gentle hand squeezing a sponge. But at night, as you lie still, they slowly plump back up, letting your spine stretch to its full length. Doctors measure this change. Athletes notice it in their performance. Astronauts experience it dramatically when they return from space, suddenly standing taller after months in zero gravity. But you experience it every single night and morning, in the quietest way possible. That moment when you wake up feeling just a little looser, that stretch when you raise your arms toward the ceiling, that's your body celebrating its nightly escape from gravity's grip. Your spine is a tower of bones stacked with precision, 24 vertebrae separated by discs that look like tiny jelly donuts. These discs are about 80% water when you're well rested and hydrated. Throughout the day, as you sit, stand, and move, gravity presses down on them, squeezing out small amounts of fluid. By evening, you might be up to a full centimeter shorter than when you woke. But when you lie down to sleep, something wonderful happens. The pressure lifts, and like thirsty sponges, your discs slowly absorb fluid back in, plumping up and lengthening your spine. This daily rhythm is written into your biology, as natural as the tides responding to the moon. Ancient humans experienced it as they slept on cave floors. Pharaohs felt it in their Egyptian beds. And now, in your modern mattress, your body continues this timeless dance with gravity. Even now, as you listen, your spine is preparing for its nightly stretch. The muscles along your back are relaxing their grip. The discs between your vertebrae are ready to drink in fluid. Your body knows what to do, it's been practicing this routine since before you took your first breath. The change is small but measurable. On average, people are about 1% taller in the morning. For someone who stands 170 centimeters, 5 feet 7 inches, that's nearly 2 centimeters of difference between bedtime and wake-up time. Children, with their more flexible spines, might experience even more dramatic changes. And astronauts? In the weightlessness of space, freed from Earth's constant pull, they can grow up to 5 centimeters taller, until they return home and gravity claims that extra height once more. As you settle deeper into sleep tonight, your body will begin its silent work. The discs in your lower back, which bear the most weight during the day, will especially relish this nightly reprieve. Imagine them like tiny pillows, slowly re-inflating as the hours pass. The ligaments along your spine will loosen their grip. Even your posture muscles, constantly working to keep you upright during the day, will finally get their well-earned rest. This phenomenon explains why we often feel stiffer in the evenings, why a good night's sleep can make us feel more limber, and why we instinctively stretch when we wake. That morning stretch isn't just about. It's your body celebrating its temporary escape from gravity's constant pressure. It's you, for these few morning hours, standing at your full natural height before the day's activities begin to compress you once again. So as you listen tonight, pay attention to the subtle sensations in your back. Notice how your spine feels supported by your mattress. Imagine those fluid-filled discs between your bones, slowly rehydrating as you rest. Picture your entire body, from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes, gently elongating in the quiet darkness. And when you wake tomorrow, take a moment to appreciate this nightly miracle. Stand tall, breathe deep, and know that for these morning hours, you're standing at your very fullest height, until gravity, with its patient, persistent pull, gradually reclaims those millimeters over the course of the day. This is the hidden rhythm of your body, the secret dance between bone and gravity, between waking and sleep. It's happening right now, as you drift closer to dreams. So let your breathing slow, let your muscles relax completely, and let your spine enjoy its nightly stretch, because the story of why you're taller in the morning is, in its quiet way, the story of what makes you human. The human spine, a telescopic tower. Imagine your spine as a living, breathing masterpiece of engineering, a flexible column of bones that somehow remains both sturdy enough to support your entire body and supple enough to let you bend, twist, and move with grace. This remarkable structure, your spinal column, stands as a testament to evolution's brilliance, designed to withstand the constant pull of gravity while granting you the freedom of movement that makes you human. Tonight, as we explore this incredible system, picture it not as dry anatomy but as a dynamic, changing landscape within you, one that literally reshapes itself between sunrise and sunset. Between each vertebra lie nature's perfect shock absorbers, intervertebral discs. These aren't mere cushions of cartilage but living, responsive structures that behave like miniature hydraulic systems. Each disc resembles a tiny water balloon sandwiched between dinner plates, the tough outer ring, annulus fibrosus, containing a gel-like center, nucleus pulposus, that's mostly water. During your waking hours, these discs perform a slow-motion miracle, compressing under your body's weight like springs in a mattress, then re-expanding as you sleep. They don't simply flatten and rebound mechanically, they actually exchange fluid with surrounding tissues in a daily rhythm as predictable as the tides. The daily compression begins the moment you rise from bed. As gravity reclaims its hold on your body, your discs start their gradual dehydration. The lower lumbar discs, bearing the weight of your entire torso, experience this most dramatically. Picture them like sponges being gently wrung out, losing microscopic amounts of fluid with each hour you spend upright. By evening, after a day of sitting, standing, and moving through your world, your spinal column may have settled by nearly a full centimeter. This explains why you might feel slightly stiffer at day's end, why your back might protest more when bending in the evening compared to the morning. The change is subtle but measurable, a testament to your disc's remarkable ability to distribute and manage forces that would damage rigid structures. Now comes the nightly restoration, when your body reverses this process in the quiet darkness. As you lie down, gravity's constant pull is neutralized along the length of your spine. The discs, freed from their daytime burden, begin absorbing fluid back from surrounding tissues. This rehydration happens slowly, like plants drawing moisture through their roots at night. The nucleus pulposus, that gel-like center of each disc, swells gradually, pushing the vertebrae slightly farther apart. By morning, your spinal column will have regained its full length, those compress. This phenomenon appears most dramatically in children, whose discs are more hydrated and elastic. A growing child might experience nearly 2 centimeters of height difference between morning and evening measurements, one reason parents often swear their children grow overnight. Astronauts present an even more extreme example. Freed from Earth's gravity in space, their spines can elongate by up to 5 centimeters until they return to terrestrial pull. Even in adults, this daily fluctuation remains, though reduced by the natural stiffening of discs that comes with age. The spine's telescoping nature explains countless everyday experiences. That satisfying full-body stretch when you first wake. It's your body celebrating its temporary freedom from gravity's grip. The way your favorite jeans fit slightly looser at night. Your changing spinal length subtly alters your proportions. Even the reason you might touch your toes more easily in a morning yoga class than an evening one traces back to these few millimeters of extra spinal flexibility. Evolution designed this system with brilliant economy. Giraffes have stiff neck vertebrae to support their incredible height. Dogs and cats have relatively rigid spines suited for quadrupedal motion. But your spine? Yours is a masterpiece of flexible strength, strong enough to keep you upright yet supple enough to allow bending and twisting. This compromise requires constant maintenance, nightly rehydration to counteract daily compression, like a plant that wilts by day and revives at night. As you listen now, try tuning into subtle sensations along your back. Notice how your spine feels fully supported by your mattress, how the gentle curve of your neck finds perfect alignment with your pillow. Imagine those discs between your vertebrae, each one slowly rehydrating, each millimeter of regained height representing your body's quiet victory over gravity. Picture your spinal column as a living telescope, extending to its full length. This daily rhythm connects you to every human who has ever lived. Ancient hunters felt it as they slept on animal skins. Medieval farmers noticed it after long days in the fields. Now you experience it in your modern bed, this timeless dance between bone and gravity, between activity and rest. Your body knows this rhythm by heart, has followed it since your first steps, will continue until your last. So as you drift towards sleep tonight, surrender completely to your mattress. Let your spine stretch without resistance, those precious discs drinking deeply of the fluid they sacrificed to gravity today. Know that when you wake, you'll stand, if only briefly, at your very tallest, before the beautiful, relentless pull of Earth begins its gentle work once more. This is the hidden rhythm of your body, the secret pulse of your anatomy, the quiet miracle happening inside you right now as you prepare to dream. Your spine remembers what your conscious mind often forgets, that rest isn't passive, but active restoration. That sleep isn't merely the absence of waking but a vital process of repair and renewal. And that every morning brings not just a new day, but literally a new you, standing just slightly taller, just slightly more refreshed, ready to meet the world again. The story of your spine is still being written, still being stretched and compressed with each passing day. But for now, in this quiet moment, let it rest. Let it stretch. Let it prepare for tomorrow's challenges. Close your eyes and imagine those discs plumping up like tiny pillows refilling with air, your vertebrae drifting slightly farther apart, your entire body sighing with relief as night works its gentle magic on your magnificent, telescoping spine. Gravity, the silent height thief. Every morning, you wake up just a little bit taller than when you went to bed. Every evening, you go to bed just a little bit shorter than when you woke. This daily dance of shrinking and growing happens so gradually you'd never notice it except for one invisible force pulling the strings. Gravity, that silent height thief, is constantly at work on your body, compressing you millimeter by millimeter throughout your waking hours, only to release its grip when you surrender to sleep. Gravity is the sculptor that shapes our bodies from the moment we take our first breath to our final days. It's what gives weight to our world, what keeps our feet firmly planted on the ground, and what secretly steals fractions of our height every single day. Sir Isaac Newton first described gravity's universal pull, that invisible force that makes apples fall from trees and planets orbit stars. But what Newton might not have realized is how personally each of us experiences gravity's effects, not in dramatic falls but in the slow, subtle compression of our bodies. Your spine bears the brunt of gravity's daily work. Imagine your spinal column as a stack of coins with damp sponges between each one. During the day, the weight of all those coins above presses down on the sponges below, squeezing out tiny amounts of water. This is exactly what happens to the discs between your vertebrae, those remarkable fluid-filled cushions that allow your back to bend and twist. With each hour you spend upright, gravity compresses these discs just a little more, wringing out microscopic amounts of fluid until, by bedtime, you may be nearly a full centimeter shorter than when your day began. We experience gravity's effects in countless small ways throughout our daily lives without realizing it. That slight stiffness you feel in your back after a long day of standing. Gravity's handiwork. The way your joints seem to pop more easily when you stretch in the evening compared to the morning. Gravity's subtle compression. Even the reason your shoes might feel just a bit tighter at night traces back to gravity's relentless pull on your entire body, compressing not just your spine but all your joints and connective tissues. The most dramatic proof of gravity's role in our changing height comes from astronauts living in space. Freed from Earth's constant pull aboard the International Space Station, astronauts experience what scientists call spinal unloading. Without gravity compressing their spines, astronauts can grow up to 2 inches taller in just a few days, the ultimate morning stretch. Their intervertebral discs, no longer squeezed by gravity, fully rehydrate and expand. Back muscles that normally work constantly to maintain posture against gravity's pull can finally relax completely. The effect is so pronounced that space agencies have to account for it when designing spacecraft interiors and spacesuits. But this space-grown height is temporary. When astronauts return to Earth, gravity reclaims its prize swiftly and mercilessly. Within hours of landing, those extra inches disappear as Earth's pull compresses their spines back to normal. The process isn't comfortable. Many astronauts report significant back pain during their readjustment to gravity, their bodies protesting the renewed pressure after weeks or months of weightless freedom. This astronaut case study reveals an important truth: our bodies evolved under gravity's constant presence, and they function best when gravity's force remains steady. The daily compression and nightly re-expansion of our spines is part of a healthy rhythm, like the tides responding to the moon's pull. Just as beaches need both high and low tides to maintain their ecosystems, our spines need both the compression of day and the release of night to stay healthy. Gravity's effects extend beyond just our spines. Consider how your feet flatten slightly throughout the day as gravity compresses the arches. Or how your knees and hips bear your full weight with every step, the cartilage in those joints slowly compressing under the load. Even your organs experience gravity's pull. Your liver, stomach, and intestines all settle slightly lower in your body. The force of gravity varies slightly across Earth's surface, meaning you technically weigh less, and experience slightly less spinal compression, at high altitudes than at sea level. On the highest peaks of the Himalayas, gravity's pull is about 0.3% weaker than at ocean beaches. While this difference is too small to notice in your daily height changes, it demonstrates how universally gravity shapes our physical experience. Ancient humans understood gravity's effects intuitively, even if they couldn't explain the science. Early medical texts describe patients appearing taller in mornings than evenings. Traditional cultures developed practices like afternoon naps that may have unconsciously given the spine temporary relief from gravity's compression. Even the invention of beds, raising sleepers off the hard ground, helped maximize the spine's nightly stretching by allowing more complete relaxation than sleeping on unforgiving surfaces. Modern life has introduced new challenges to our relationship with gravity. Sitting for long hours, whether at desks, in cars, or on couches, places unusual stresses on our spines. While standing under gravity's pull compresses our discs evenly, sitting concentrates pressure on specific areas, potentially accelerating disc degeneration over time. This is one reason experts recommend standing periodically throughout the day, not just to move but to redistribute gravity's compressive forces more evenly along the spine. Yet gravity isn't our enemy, it's an essential partner in maintaining healthy bones and muscles. Without gravity's constant challenge, our bones lose density and our muscles atrophy, as astronauts discovered during long space missions. The key is balance, enough gravitational loading to maintain strength, interspersed with regular relief to allow recovery. Nighttime provides that crucial relief, when horizontal positioning removes gravity's compressive force along the length of the spine, allowing discs to rehydrate fully. As you go about your day tomorrow, take a moment to appreciate gravity's silent work. When you feel that instinctive stretch after sitting too long, recognize it as your body's attempt to counteract gravity's compression. When you lie down at night, imagine your spine gratefully extending to its full length, those compressed discs slowly plumping back up like sponges in water. Gravity may be the silent thief that steals millimeters of your height each day, but it's also the force that gives structure to our world, that keeps us grounded in the most literal sense. Our changing height isn't a flaw but a feature, a brilliant adaptation that allows us to stand tall against gravity's endless pull, day after day, year after year, throughout our entire lives. So tonight, as you surrender to sleep, picture gravity loosening its grip on your body. Imagine your spine stretching like a plant reaching for sunlight, those compressed discs drinking deeply of their lost fluid. Know that when you wake, you'll stand, if only briefly, at your full, unburdened height, ready to face another day in gravity's embrace. Sleep, the nighttime stretch. So Section 1, How Lying Down Unloads the Spine. As daylight fades and you finally surrender to your mattress, a profound transformation begins along the central axis of your body. The simple act of lying down initiates what spinal researchers call unloading. Gravity's relentless grip on your vertebrae loosens, allowing your compressed spine to gradually return to its natural, elongated state. This nightly rebirth of your posture isn't just poetic imagery, it's a measurable physiological process that unfolds with clockwork precision each time you sleep. When you transition from vertical to horizontal, you're not merely changing positions, you're fundamentally altering the physics of your skeleton. In standing position, your lumbar discs bear approximately 100% of your upper body's weight. Sitting increases this pressure to about 140%. Due to the angled pull of gravity on your torso. But when you lie down, the load on your lumbar spine plummets to just 25% of standing pressure, a dramatic reprieve that allows your compressed discs to begin their slow rehydration. The mechanics of spinal unloading reveal nature's brilliance. As your body relaxes into the mattress, the paraspinal muscles that constantly fire to maintain upright posture finally stand down. These postural muscles, which unconsciously contract hundreds of times per minute just to keep you from collapsing under gravity, can now fully relax. This muscular relaxation is the first crucial step in spinal decompression, creating space between vertebrae that daytime compression denies. Your sleeping position further influences this unloading process. In the recommended side-lying position, with knees slightly bent, spinal pressure distributes evenly across multiple contact points. The fetal position, while comfortable, actually maintains some spinal flexion that limits full decompression. Back sleeping with proper pillow support allows maximum spinal elongation, particularly if your pillow maintains the natural cervical curve. Stomach sleeping, while discouraged by orthopedists, still provides more spinal relief than remaining upright. The spine's unloading follows a distinct timeline. Within the first 15 minutes of lying down, your discs begin absorbing fluid at their peripheries. After 1 hour, measurable height restoration begins as the nucleus pulposus, the gel-like disc center, starts rehydrating. The most significant changes occur during the first 3 hours of sleep when growth hormone pulses facilitate tissue repair. By morning, assuming 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep, your spine will have regained nearly all its compressible length. This unloading phenomenon isn't uniform along your spinal column. The lumbar region, lower back, shows the most dramatic changes because it bears the greatest daytime loads. Cervical vertebrae, neck, experience less dramatic height fluctuations since they support only the head's weight. Thoracic discs, mid-back, protected by the rib cage, occupy a middle ground in this nightly restoration process. Modern sleep science has quantified these changes using precise measurement techniques. MRI studies show intervertebral discs swelling by 0.5 to 1 mm each during sleep. While this seems minuscule, multiplied across 23 discs it accounts for your full centimeter, or more, of morning height. Advanced pressure sensors placed beneath sleepers demonstrate how different mattresses affect unloading. Memory foam distributes pressure most evenly, while overly firm surfaces can create pressure points that limit full decompression. The spine's nightly unloading carries evolutionary significance. Our primate ancestors likely experienced similar daily compression cycling as they moved between daytime climbing/foraging and nighttime rest. The human spine's remarkable adaptability, its ability to compress and rebound daily, may have been crucial in our transition to full-time bipedalism. This daily reset mechanism allowed early humans to withstand the unprecedented spinal loads of upright walking while maintaining flexibility for survival tasks. Your sleeping environment directly impacts spinal unloading efficiency. An overly soft mattress fails to provide adequate support, preventing full decompression as your spine bends unnaturally. An excessively firm surface creates pressure points that maintain localized compression. The ideal Goldilocks zone, typically a medium-firm mattress with proper spinal alignment, allows maximum disc rehydration. Pillow height matters equally. An improperly supported neck can maintain cervical compression even as the rest of your spine unloads. As you prepare for sleep tonight, consider this: the moment your head touches the pillow, microscopic valves in your disc tissue begin opening. The proteoglycans, water molecules, in your disc matrix start drawing fluid back inward. Your spinal column, freed from its daily burden, begins its slow stretch toward morning glory. This isn't passive rest but active restoration, your body working silently through the night to undo what gravity has wrought by day. The implications extend beyond mere height changes. Proper spinal unloading during sleep reduces morning back stiffness by allowing full disc rehydration. Maintains disc health by ensuring regular nutrient exchange. May prevent chronic back pain by preventing sustained compression. Enhances flexibility by restoring natural spinal spacing. In our modern world of prolonged sitting and sedentary lifestyles, this nightly spinal reset has become more crucial than ever. Where our ancestors naturally alternated between activity and rest throughout the day, we often remain compressed for 16+ continuous hours before allowing our spines to unload. This makes quality sleep, with proper spinal alignment, not just beneficial but essential for musculoskeletal health. As you drift towards sleep tonight, visualize your spine gradually elongating like a telescope extending. Picture each vertebra floating slightly farther from its neighbors as the hours pass. Imagine the discs between them plumping up like tiny water balloons slowly refilling. This is your body's ancient wisdom at work, a nightly ritual encoded in your biology, as natural as the tides responding to the moon's pull. The story continues as we explore the remarkable fluid dynamics within your discs. Transition to next section about cartilage and fluid dynamics. Now section 2, the role of cartilage and fluid, nature's hydraulic system. Within the hidden architecture of your spine lies one of nature's most ingenious hydraulic systems, the delicate interplay between cartilage and fluid that allows your spinal column to function as both sturdy pillar and flexible reed. These intervertebral discs, those unassuming cushions between your vertebrae, are far more than simple shock absorbers. They're dynamic, living structures that breathe and hydrate in rhythm with your daily activities and nightly rest. Picture them as miniature water balloons sandwiched between dinner plates, their tough outer rings of fibrocartilage, the annulus fibrosus, containing a gel-like core, the nucleus pulposus, that behaves like a slow-motion hydraulic pump. The magic of disc hydration begins at the microscopic level. Each disc's matrix contains a network of proteoglycans, specialized molecules that act like microscopic sponges with an extraordinary capacity to attract and retain water. These molecules carry strong negative charges that create osmotic pressure, constantly pulling water into the disc tissue. During nighttime unloading, this osmotic potential reaches its peak effectiveness. As gravity's compressive force diminishes, the proteoglycans eagerly draw fluid back into the disc space from surrounding vertebral bodies and capillaries. The process resembles how a dried sponge placed in water gradually plumps back to its full size, except this biological version occurs with exquisite precision over several hours of rest. This fluid exchange isn't merely about volume, it's the disc's primary method of nutrient delivery and waste removal. Unlike other tissues that benefit from direct blood flow, discs are largely avascular in adulthood. They depend entirely on this cyclical loading and unloading for their sustenance. During the day, compression squeezes out metabolic waste products. At night, rehydration brings fresh oxygen and nutrients. This explains why proper spinal unloading during sleep is literally a matter of life and death for your discs. Without adequate nightly rehydration, they would gradually degenerate from chronic malnutrition. The disc's water content tells a compelling story of daily transformation. Upon waking, a healthy lumbar disc may consist of nearly 85% water. After a full day of activity, this can drop to around 75%. While this 10% fluctuation might seem insignificant, consider that a single lumbar disc holds about 1 to 1.5 milliliters of water when fully hydrated. That means your spine's daily compression wrings out approximately 0.15 milliliters of fluid from each disc. Multiplied across 23 intervertebral spaces, this amounts to nearly 3.5 milliliters of fluid displaced from your spinal column each day, only to be gradually reabsorbed during sleep. The physics behind this fluid movement reveals elegant biological engineering. When compressed, the disc's internal pressure can reach up to 1.5 megapascals, about 15 times atmospheric pressure. This tremendous force drives water out through small pores in the disk's outer ring. During unloading, the pressure drops precipitously, creating a vacuum effect that pulls fluid back inward. The process follows a predictable logarithmic curve, rapid rehydration in first few hours of sleep, then gradually tapering as the disk approaches maximum capacity. By morning, the osmotic balance between disk and surrounding tissues reaches equilibrium, completing the daily cycle. Age introduces subtle changes to this hydraulic miracle. In childhood, disks are plump and highly hydrated, with blood vessels penetrating deep into their structure. By adolescence, these blood vessels recede, leaving disks dependent on mechanical loading for nutrition. In later years, proteoglycan content gradually declines, reducing the disk's water-attracting power. This natural aging process explains why children show more dramatic daily height fluctuations than adults, and why we typically lose about 1 to 2 centimeters of permanent height by age 60 as our disks lose their youthful resilience. The quality of your sleep directly impacts this hydraulic system. During deep sleep stages, when human growth hormone secretion peaks, disk rehydration occurs most efficiently. Poor sleep or frequent awakenings disrupt this process, potentially leaving disks partially dehydrated by morning. This explains why many people experience increased back stiffness after restless nights. Their disks simply didn't have adequate time or ideal conditions to complete their nightly refill. Environmental factors subtly influence this fluid exchange. Room temperature affects disk rehydration rate. Cooler environments may slow the process slightly by causing mild vasoconstriction in surrounding tissues. Hydration status plays a crucial role. Adequate water intake ensures sufficient fluid availability for disk replenishment. Even atmospheric pressure variations, like before storms, might marginally affect the osmotic balance between disks and their environment. The consequences of incomplete disk rehydration accumulate over time. Chronically dehydrated disks lose height permanently, bringing vertebrae closer together. This narrows neural passages, potentially leading to nerve impingement. The annulus fibrosus bears increased stress, raising risks of bulging or herniation. Perhaps most crucially, diminished nutrient exchange accelerates disc degeneration, a primary contributor to chronic back pain. This makes quality sleep with proper spinal alignment not just a matter of comfort, but of long-term spinal health preservation. As you rest tonight, envision this hydraulic ballet unfolding along your spine. Picture millions of proteoglycan molecules reaching out for water like parched roots in desert soil. Imagine the slow seepage of nutrient-rich fluid through microscopic channels in vertebral endplates. Visualize your discs swelling gradually like tide pools filling under a rising moon. This silent, vital process continues night after night, year after year, your body's ancient wisdom maintaining the delicate balance between structure and flexibility that defines human movement. The story of disc hydration reaches its climax when we examine what science has discovered about optimizing this process. Transition to final section about maximizing disc rehydration. Last section 3, the science of disc hydration, optimizing your nightly recharge. As the night deepens and your conscious mind drifts through dreams, an intricate biochemical symphony orchestrates the full rehydration of your spinal discs. This final act of the nighttime stretch represents more than simple mechanics, it's a precisely regulated physiological process where cellular biology, fluid dynamics, and sleep physiology converge to restore your spine to its morning glory. Modern science has unraveled remarkable details about how to maximize this nightly recharge, revealing that the quality of your disc rehydration depends on far more than just lying down. It's influenced by sleep position, duration, mattress selection, and even your daytime habits. The rehydration process follows a distinct timeline governed by the disc's unique structure. During the first hour of sleep, fluid initially enters the disc's outer annulus fibrosus through microscopic channels too small for red blood cells to pass. This outer ring, composed of tough collagen fibers arranged in concentric layers, swells gradually like a sponge absorbing water from its edges inward. By the second hour, fluid begins penetrating the nucleus pulposus, the gelatinous core rich in proteoglycans that acts as the disc's primary water reservoir. These large molecules, with their extraordinary water-attracting capacity, create an osmotic gradient powerful enough to generate pressures exceeding 300 mm of mercury when fully hydrated. The most dramatic changes occur between the 3rd and 5th hours of sleep, coinciding with your deepest slow-wave sleep stages when growth hormone secretion peaks and your body's repair mechanisms are most active. Sleep position exerts a profound influence on this rehydration process. Side sleeping with proper spinal alignment, knees slightly bent with a pillow between them, creates optimal conditions for lumbar disc rehydration by evenly distributing pressure along the spine's length. Back sleepers experience more complete cervical and thoracic disc rehydration but may slightly compromise lumbar replenishment unless they place a pillow beneath their knees to maintain the spine's natural curve. Stomach sleeping, while generally discouraged, can still facilitate disc rehydration but often at the cost of maintaining cervical rotation that may limit full spinal elongation. The worst position for disc recovery? Semi-reclined sleeping on couches or chairs, which maintains partial spinal compression while preventing the full unloading achieved in proper horizontal positions. Mattress selection plays an equally crucial role in facilitating complete disc rehydration. Research using pressure mapping technology reveals that medium-firm mattresses, typically rated 5 to 7 on a 10-point firmness scale, provide the ideal balance of support and pressure relief for most individuals. These surfaces allow sufficient give to prevent pressure points while maintaining proper spinal alignment. Memory foam mattresses excel at evenly distributing body weight but may retain too much heat for optimal sleep quality. Latex mattresses offer excellent support with better temperature regulation but less contouring. Innerspring mattresses provide firm support but often create pressure points that can interrupt the rehydration process. The common denominator. Any surface that maintains natural spinal curves while allowing muscles to fully relax will best facilitate disc rehydration. The science of disc nutrition reveals why complete nightly rehydration is non-negotiable for spinal health. Unlike most tissues that receive nutrients through robust blood supplies, adult intervertebral discs rely entirely on this daily cycle of compression and rehydration for nourishment. During daytime compression, metabolic waste products like lactic acid are squeezed from the disc matrix. Nighttime rehydration brings fresh oxygen, glucose, and amino acids dissolved in the returning fluid, essentially providing breakfast, lunch, and dinner for your disc cells in one prolonged nighttime meal. Chronic sleep deprivation or poor sleep quality starves these cells, leading to disc degeneration that begins at the microscopic level years before pain or stiffness appears. Hydration status dramatically impacts this nightly recharge. While the discs themselves rehydrate primarily through mechanical unloading rather than direct water intake, systemic dehydration reduces the available fluid pool for this exchange. The body prioritizes vital organs during dehydration states, potentially shortchanging disc rehydration. Evening alcohol consumption compounds this problem. As a diuretic, it promotes fluid loss while simultaneously fragmenting sleep architecture and reducing precious slow-wave sleep time when most disc rehydration occurs. Proper daytime hydration, with water intake tapering in the evening to prevent sleep-disrupting bathroom trips, creates ideal conditions for overnight disc recovery. Temperature regulation emerges as another surprising factor in disc rehydration efficiency. The disc's metabolic rate, and consequently its nutrient demands, increases with temperature. Overly warm sleep environments may accelerate disc cell activity without proportionally increasing nutrient delivery, potentially creating localized metabolic deficits. This explains why many people experience better spinal recovery when sleeping in slightly cooler rooms, around 18 to 20 degrees Celsius or 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, as the mild vasoconstriction helps maintain optimal fluid balance for disc rehydration without overheating cells. The consequences of incomplete disc rehydration manifest gradually but inexorably. A single of poor sleep might leave your discs at 90% capacity rather than fully rehydrated, barely noticeable in morning height but contributing to subtle stiffness. Chronic sleep deprivation or poor sleep conditions lead to cumulative deficits where discs never quite return to baseline, beginning a cascade changes. The nucleus pulposus loses proteoglycans and water-binding capacity. The annulus fibrosus develops microtears as it bears increased load from the shrinking nucleus. Vertebral endplates, the critical interfaces between disc and bone, thicken and calcify, further impeding nutrient exchange. What begins as millimeters of lost height progresses to chronic back pain, reduced mobility, and increased injury risk. Emerging research suggests we can actively enhance our disc rehydration through specific practices. Evening gentle stretching, particularly yoga poses like child's pose or supine twists, may improve fluid exchange by creating temporary pressure differentials that prime the pump for nighttime rehydration. Floating meditation before bed, where you lie supine with legs elevated, provides a head start on spinal unloading. Certain nutrients, particularly vitamin C, essential for collagen synthesis, magnesium, which supports muscle relaxation, and omega-3 fatty acids, with their anti-inflammatory effects, may create better conditions for disc recovery. Even simple awareness of posture during evening activities can prevent unnecessary compression before sleep. As you prepare for sleep tonight, consider this: the next several hours represent far more than mere rest, they're an intensive rehabilitation session for your spine. Each minute of quality sleep allows another fraction of millimeter of disc rehydration, another increment of nutrient delivery, another step toward morning revitalization. Your body knows precisely how to perform this maintenance. It's followed this rhythm for millennia, but only when provided the proper conditions of position, surface, duration, and environment. The science is clear: optimizing your nighttime stretch isn't about chasing some abstract ideal of perfect sleep. It's about honoring the biological reality that your spine, the literal backbone of your physical existence, requires these hours of unloading as vitally as your lungs require air. By aligning your sleep habits with these physiological truths, you're not just preventing back pain, you're preserving the miraculous hydraulic system that lets you stand tall against gravity's unrelenting pull, day after day, year after year. The daily shrink-grow cycle. From the moment you rise from bed until you return to it each night, your body undergoes a silent transformation so gradual you'd never notice it, except for the subtle clues it leaves behind. That favorite pair of jeans fitting just slightly looser in the evening. The way you might graze a doorframe with your fingertips in the morning but clear it comfortably by bedtime. These are the quiet signatures of your body's daily shrink-grow cycle, a physiological rhythm as reliable as the tides yet far more personal. Science reveals that the average adult experiences nearly a full centimeter of height fluctuation between morning and evening, a change that would be dramatic if it happened all at once, but becomes invisible when spread across waking hours. This phenomenon isn't mere compression, it's a complex interplay of gravity, biomechanics, and fluid dynamics that unfolds within your spinal column like a slow-motion ballet. The mechanics of daily height loss begin with your intervertebral discs, those remarkable fluid-filled cushions separating your vertebrae. Imagine these discs as miniature hydraulic shock absorbers in your car's suspension system, constantly adjusting to road conditions. During nighttime rest, free from gravity's pull, these discs fully rehydrate, absorbing fluid until they reach maximum capacity like sponges soaking in water. But from the instant you stand upright to begin your day, gravity initiates a gradual wringing out process. Each step you take, each hour you sit, each moment you remain vertical contributes to an almost imperceptible squeezing of these spinal cushions. The lumbar discs, bearing the full weight of your torso, are affected most dramatically, losing up to 0.3 millimeters of height individually by day's end. Multiplied across all 23 intervertebral spaces, this accounts for your measurable evening shrinkage. This daily height fluctuation follows a predictable curve that researchers have mapped with precision. The most rapid loss occurs during the first 2 hours after rising, as your spine adapts to bearing weight again. The rate then slows but continues steadily throughout your waking hours. Interestingly, exercise temporarily accelerates height loss. The additional compression from running or weight training can cause measurable changes, while periods of lying down, like an afternoon nap, may partially reverse it. By evening, when you finally remove your shoes after a long day, your body has completed its daily descent, literally, from your morning peak height to your evening nadir. The clothing paradox, where garments seem looser at night despite no change in body fat, reveals this phenomenon's subtlety. Your morning jeans fit snugly not because you've swollen overnight, but because your fully hydrated spine and surrounding tissues maintain maximum extension. As the day progresses and spinal compression occurs, your torso literally shortens while your limbs settle slightly closer to your core. This creates the illusion of clothes stretching when in reality your frame has contracted beneath them. The effect is most noticeable with fitted waistbands and tailored shirts, garments that depend on precise body proportions. Even your shoes participate in this daily dance. Many people find their footwear slightly roomier by evening as the arches of their feet compress from prolonged weight-bearing. Athletes and dancers have long intuitively understood these daily changes without knowing the science behind them. Ballet dancers often measure their extensions, leg lifts, in morning practice when spinal flexibility is greatest. High jumpers and basketball players typically demonstrate their best vertical leaps in early sessions. Even ordinary people can touch their toes more easily in morning flexibility tests. This isn't just about warmed-up muscles, it reflects genuine biomechanical changes in spinal mobility resulting from overnight disc rehydration. The difference may amount to only a few percentage points in performance metrics, but at elite levels, these margins determine victories. Medical professionals account for these fluctuations in precise measurements. Doctors measuring growth in children always schedule morning appointments for consistency. Spinal decompression therapy sessions often show better outcomes when performed early in the day. Even the standard clinical height measurement, without which body mass index calculations would be inaccurate, specifies morning measurement for adults when possible. The medical community recognizes that evening heights can underrepresent true stature by up to 1.5%, a significant margin when monitoring health metrics. The shrink-grow cycle carries evolutionary significance that predates modern humans. Our primate ancestors likely experienced similar daily fluctuations as they moved between nighttime rest in trees and daytime foraging on the ground. This adaptability may have been crucial in humanity's transition to full-time bipedalism. The ability to compress during activity and rehydrate during rest would have protected early hominids from spinal injury while allowing efficient upright locomotion. Some anthropologists speculate that the development of sleeping platforms, elevated surfaces that allowed full spinal extension, may have been as important to human evolution as tool use or fire, by optimizing this daily recovery process. Modern lifestyles have introduced new challenges to this ancient rhythm. Prolonged sitting, the posture defining contemporary work life, creates sustained spinal compression unlike anything our ancestors experienced. While standing periodically helps, most office workers accumulate 8 to 10 hours of near-continuous sitting. This explains why many people report feeling shorter after desk-bound days compared to more active ones. Their spines experience less variation in loading, leading to more pronounced fluid displacement. The solution isn't simply standing desks, which create their own postural stresses, but frequent positional changes that allow intermittent spinal unloading throughout the day. The psychological dimensions of this daily transformation are equally fascinating. Morning height correlates with measurable increases in confidence and self-perception. The standing tall metaphor manifests physically before diminishing through the day. Clothing designers unconsciously account for these changes when creating garments with wearing ease, extra room that accommodates not just movement but the body's natural size fluctuations. Even optical illusions play a role. Because we typically see ourselves in mirrors during morning grooming routines, we mentally anchor our self-image to our taller morning stature, making evening reflections seem subtly off, without understanding why. As you prepare for sleep tonight, consider the profound journey your spine has completed today. From its morning glory, fully extended and hydrated, through the gradual compression of daily activities, to its evening contraction awaiting renewal. This isn't a flaw in human design but a feature of extraordinary adaptability, allowing us to withstand gravity's constant pull while maintaining flexibility and resilience. Your body knows this rhythm by heart, has followed it since your first steps, will continue it throughout your life. The shrink-grow cycle continues tonight as you sleep, resetting your personal yardstick for another day of standing tall against gravity's unrelenting force. Myth-busting and fun facts. The truth about your shrinking spine. The daily shrink-grow cycle of the human body has inspired countless myths, misconceptions, and fascinating biological curiosities throughout history. From old wives' tales about height enhancement to startling animal adaptations that defy gravity's rules, the science of spinal compression and expansion reveals truths far more interesting than fiction. Let's unravel some persistent myths and explore delightful facts about how humans, and our animal cousins, navigate a world ruled by gravity's unrelenting pull. One of the most enduring myths suggests that special pillows or sleeping positions can make you permanently taller. While it's true that proper sleep posture helps your spine achieve its full natural length during nightly rehydration, no pillow can add inches to your stature beyond your genetic potential. The confusion stems from a kernel of truth. Poor sleep posture can indeed rob you of precious millimeters by preventing full spinal extension. An overly thick pillow that cranes your neck forward or a sagging mattress that misaligns your hips may limit your disc's ability to fully rehydrate. However, the inverse, that perfect pillows create extra height, is pure fantasy. Your morning height represents your body's maximum natural extension after optimal unloading. No amount of pillow engineering can surpass this biological limit. The real benefit of quality pillows and mattresses isn't increasing height but preserving the spine's natural curvature, allowing for complete disc rehydration and preventing chronic compression that could lead to permanent height loss over decades. Tall individuals experience more dramatic daily height fluctuations than their shorter counterparts, a fact that surprises many people. The reason is simple physics: longer spinal columns contain more intervertebral discs and greater cumulative compressible space. While the average person might lose about 1 centimeter between morning and evening, someone over 6 feet 2 inches could lose up to 1.5 centimeters or more under similar conditions. This proportional relationship holds across species too. Basketball players and giraffes alike experience greater absolute compare. However, tall individuals don't necessarily suffer more back problems from this increased compression. Evolution has equipped longer spines with proportionally thicker discs and stronger supporting musculature to handle the additional stresses. The real challenge comes from modern environments designed for average heights: car seats, airplane cabins, and even showerheads that force tall people into unnatural postures, creating uneven compression that even their robust spines struggle to handle gracefully. Giraffes present one of nature's most fascinating exceptions to gravity's rules. With necks stretching up to 2 meters long, these majestic creatures should theoretically collapse under their own weight or suffer catastrophic blood pressure fluctuations when bending to drink. Yet giraffes move with effortless grace, their spines demonstrating evolutionary solutions that put human engineering to shame. Their secret lies in exceptionally thick, viscous intervertebral discs, nearly 10 times denser than human discs, that resist compression despite the enormous forces involved. Additionally, a unique ligament system called the nuchal ligament acts like a biological suspension cable, supporting the neck's weight without constant muscular effort. Even their cardiovascular system plays along, with a complex pressure regulation system that prevents fainting when they raise or lower their heads. Unlike humans who experience significant daily height fluctuations, giraffes maintain remarkably consistent neck length because their discs are built for stability rather than flexibility, a necessary adaptation when your head functions as a high-rise apartment 6 feet above your shoulders. Another common myth suggests that astronauts return from space permanently taller. While it's true that astronauts gain up to 2 to 3 inches in weightlessness, their spines fully extending without gravity's compression, this change reverses within hours of Earth return. However, long-duration spaceflight. Some astronauts retain about 0.5 to 1 inch of permanent height gain after missions lasting 6 months or longer, not from disc expansion but from permanent ligament stretching. This phenomenon has led NASA to develop specialized exercise protocols to minimize spinal changes, recognizing that what sounds like a free height boost actually comes with increased back pain and injury risk upon return to gravity. Children experience more dramatic daily height fluctuations than adults, often up to 1.5 centimeters, due to their disc's higher water content and greater elasticity. This biological reality has fueled myths about growing pains occurring overnight. While children do grow in spurts, the morning height difference they, or their parents, observe is primarily this enhanced disc rehydration rather than actual bone growth. The growth plates near bone ends, where true lengthening occurs, operate on timelines of weeks and months, not hours. However, the myth persists because children's heightened spinal flexibility makes their daily shrink-grow cycle more noticeable, especially when combined with actual growth spurts that may coincidentally align with periods of increased sleep. The animal kingdom offers other fascinating exceptions to spinal compression rules. Elephants, despite their massive weight, experience minimal spinal compression thanks to vertically aligned vertebral joints that transfer weight directly downward rather than squeezing discs. Whales demonstrate the ultimate adaptation. Their aquatic environment provides near-perfect weightlessness, allowing spine lengths that would collapse on land. Even dinosaurs likely had unique solutions. Paleontologists believe the towering sauropods may have possessed a hybrid system combining giraffe-like stability with pneumatic, air-filled, bones to reduce weight. These evolutionary workarounds highlight how gravity shapes all terrestrial life, with each species developing specialized strategies to cope with its force. Back on Earth, humans have developed their own cultural adaptations to spinal compression. Traditional Japanese floor-sitting postures, which alternate between seiza, kneeling, and cross-legged positions, may provide more spinal unloading opportunities than continuous chair-sitting. The Hindu practice of yoga includes specific asanas like balasana, child's pose, that deliberately decompress the spine. Even the modern trend of midday, power naps unconsciously addresses our biology. Those 20 minutes of horizontal rest provide measurable, if temporary, spinal relief during the day's most compressed period. The most persistent myth of all. That height loss with age is inevitable. While some compression is natural as discs gradually lose water content, research shows that much age-related height loss stems from preventable factors like poor posture, inadequate sleep, and sedentary lifestyles. Studies of active elderly populations reveal that individuals who maintain strong core muscles and proper hydration often preserve their height far better than sedentary peers. Even osteoporosis-related compression fractures, a major cause of height loss, are increasingly preventable with modern nutrition and exercise regimens. The spine's lifelong plasticity means we have more control over our stature than traditional, shrinking with age, narratives suggest. As you reflect on these truths and misconceptions, consider your own spine's daily journey. From the moment you rise until return to rest, your body navigates an ancient relationship with gravity, compressing and expanding in rhythms written into your biology. The myths surrounding this process reveal our enduring fascination with height and posture, while the scientific truths uncover a far more interesting reality. Your spine is not just a static column but a dynamic, living system that breathes and flows with each day's rhythms. Whether you're tall as a giraffe or compact as a jockey, your vertebrae and discs perform this daily. Soothing conclusion, the nightly rebirth of your spine. As the day's final light fades and you settle into the quiet sanctuary of your bed, your body begins its most profound transformation, one that unfolds silently each night of your life, yet remains invisible to waking eyes. This is the sacred time when gravity loosens its grip, when your compressed spine remembers its full, unburdened length, when your body returns momentarily to the weightless freedom of our aquatic ancestors. Picture your vertebrae, those sturdy yet graceful bones that have carried you through every step and stumble of your day, now sighing with relief as they drift slightly apart. Imagine the discs between them, those miraculous water-filled cushions, plumping up like tiny sponges in warm water, slowly regaining the millimeter by precious millimeter they sacrificed to gravity's relentless pull. This is no mere biological process, it is your body's nightly homecoming, or return to your truest, most extended self. Close your eyes now and visualize your spine lengthening, not with the harsh stretching of morning calisthenics but with the gentle inevitability of a plant growing towards sunlight. Feel, really feel, the space between each vertebra expanding like a flower blossoming in slow motion. That subtle release along your back isn't just muscle relaxation, it's your spinal column returning to its natural state, the state it yearns for when burdened by gravity's constant pressure. Your lumbar discs, those hardest workers that bore your torso's weight all day, now drink deeply of the fluid they lost, swelling gradually like miniature moons responding to some cosmic tide. Your cervical vertebrae, freed from the endless micro-adjustments that kept your head balanced atop your spine, now float into perfect alignment. Even your thoracic spine, anchored by your rib cage, finds new mobility as the night deepens around you. This nightly elongation connects you to something ancient and universal. Every human who has ever lived, from the first hominid to stand upright on African savannas to astronauts floating high above our atmosphere, has experienced some version of this spinal release. The cave dweller sleeping on stone, the Egyptian pharaoh reclining on linen, the medieval peasant resting on straw, the modern executive sinking into memory foam, all have shared this fundamental bodily experience. When you surrender to sleep tonight, you participate in a ritual older than civilization itself, a biological imperative written into the very structure of your being. Your spine doesn't know about mortgages or deadlines or social media, it knows only that daylight means compression and night means release, an eternal rhythm as dependable as sunrise. Let your breathing slow to match this ancient rhythm. With each exhalation, imagine another tension releasing along your spinal column. With each inhalation, picture nutrient-rich fluid seeping back into those thirsty discs. The numbers don't matter, whether you regain 0.8 centimeters or 1.2 centimeters tonight isn't the point. What matters is the process itself, your body's quiet insistence on returning to equilibrium, on healing what the day has compressed, on preparing you to stand tall again tomorrow. This isn't passive rest but active restoration, as vital as breathing and as natural as your heartbeat. Consider the miracle of your intervertebral discs, those unsung heroes between your vertebrae. During waking hours, they function like perfect shock absorbers, cushioning every step, every jump, every stumble. At night, they transform into diligent hydrologists, managing the ebb and flow of fluid with precision that would awe any engineer. These tiny structures contain no pumps or valves, yet they regulate their fluid levels with unerring accuracy. They have no nerves to signal thirst, yet they know exactly when and how much to drink. They represent one of evolution's finest achievements, a self-regulating system that maintains its own. As you drift toward sleep, send silent gratitude to these faithful servants, working tirelessly to keep you mobile and pain-free. The quality of your sleep directly influences this restorative process. Those precious hours of deep, slow-wave sleep aren't just for mental rejuvenation, they're when your discs rehydrate most efficiently, when growth hormone facilitates tissue repair, when your spine achieves its fullest extension. The random tosses and turns of lighter sleep stages serve an important purpose too, subtly shifting pressure points to ensure even rehydration along your entire spinal column. Even REM sleep, with its dreaming paralysis, protects you from acting out movements that might compress your spine during this vulnerable period of re-expansion. Your body's wisdom shines brightest in these unconscious hours, performing maintenance tasks too complex for waking thought. Tonight, as you float in that liminal space between wakefulness and dreams, imagine yourself suspended in warm water, perfectly buoyant, utterly weightless. Picture your spine extending to its genetic potential, each disc plumping up like a grape swelling on the vine. Visualize the gentle traction occurring along your spinal cord, the slight separation of each vertebral joint, the slow rehydration of every cartilage surface. This mental imagery does more than relax you, it primes your nervous system to facilitate the physical processes underway, creating a feedback loop between mind and body that enhances natural healing. Your evening height loss and morning restoration represent more than a curious physiological fact, they're a daily metaphor for resilience. Each day, life compresses us in countless ways, physically, emotionally, psychologically. Each night, if we allow it, our systems reset. The spine's daily shrink-grow cycle mirrors the human capacity to withstand pressure and renew ourselves. Just as your discs know instinctively how to recover from daytime compression. Your psyche possesses innate mechanisms for recovering from stress and trauma. The same rhythmic principle applies. Periods of loading must be balanced by periods of release, times of compression require times of expansion. Your spine teaches this wisdom silently, night after night, if only you pay attention. As sleep's tide carries you deeper, reflect on tomorrow's potential. When you wake, you'll stand, for a few precious hours, at your full height, before gravity begins its gentle work of compression anew. Those morning moments represent more than physical stature, they embody possibility. The slight height advantage you enjoy upon waking is nature's gift, a physiological head start on the day's challenges. Ancient warriors knew this instinctively. Many cultures scheduled battles at dawn when soldiers were literally at their tallest and strongest. Modern science confirms their intuition. Reaction times are faster, vertical leaps higher, and cognitive performance sharper in those first morning hours when the spine enjoys its fullest extension. Yet this daily renewal demands reciprocity. Your spine gives you everything it has each day. In return, it asks only for proper rest and occasional care. The choices you make, your sleep position, your mattress quality, your daytime posture, all influence this delicate balance between compression and release. Like any relationship, the one between you and your spine thrives on attention and withers with neglect. Tonight, as you prepare to surrender to sleep, make a silent promise to honor this partnership that lets you stand tall in the world. Let your final waking thoughts embrace the paradox of your spine's existence, simultaneously strong and flexible, sturdy and supple, constant yet ever-changing. It is both anchor and sail, keeping you grounded while allowing movement in any direction. It protects your most delicate neural pathways while withstanding forces that would snap rigid structures. And every night, without fail, it remembers how to return home to its original, unburdened length, teaching us all a lesson about resilience and renewal. Now, as sleep's current pulls you under, release completely to the experience. Feel your body decompressing cell by cell, your spine elongating moment by moment. Imagine moonlight filtering through your vertebrae, illuminating each disc as it rehydrates. Picture morning's first light finding you just slightly taller, just slightly more refreshed, ready to meet the day from your full, unobstructed height. The night will work its magic whether you consciously participate or not, but by bringing awareness to the process, you honor one of your body's most profound daily rituals. And perhaps tonight, in that mysterious realm where dreams and physiology intertwine, you'll glimpse a vision of yourself floating weightless, unburdened, stretching toward some celestial canopy. Or maybe you'll simply rest deeply, trusting your body's ancient wisdom to handle the details. Either way, when dawn comes, you'll rise, literally and figuratively, renewed by the night's silent alchemy, ready to stand tall once more in gravity's embrace. Good night.